When I decided that I wanted to change my life, I knew that I couldn't do it alone, and that, above all, I needed God to help me. In the tips I'm about to give you, I not only talked and thought about what I could do to change my life, but I also put it all into practice. If you want to know more, watch this video. When you start following the teachings of the Torah, you realize that things aren't going to happen quickly. When you start following the Torah, your life won't suddenly get better. It will change a lot, yes. You'll have a spiritual connection unlike anything you've ever experienced. Many doors will open, but that doesn't mean your financial life will be prosperous, because God decides that. So let go of this idea. Perhaps you are going through difficulties or tests, being tested by God. When you face the same problem over and over again, it's a sign that you haven't passed the test yet. Don't complain. Complaining makes you miss out on God's blessings. And people, we are very prone to complaining. We wake up and complain about the weather, complain about the problems at home. We're always complaining. When you understand that complaining is like saying to God, "Look, if I were you, I'd do everything better," you'll realize that you'll continue to face the same test. It's like the people who spent 40 years facing difficulties they didn't need to, just because they kept complaining. Another important thing to take into your life is gratitude. I know a lot of coaches talk about this, but nobody ever tells you what it's like in practice. Gratitude isn't just about waking up and saying, "Thank you, God, for being alive." That's not it. Gratitude is being thankful for everything you have. Bought a new outfit? What do? We buy it, put it on, then take it off and throw it on the bed and forget about it. You know, that's not showing gratitude. God looks at you and thinks, "She asked so much for this, and now you're treating her with disregard. I'm not going to give her anything else." It's as if you were saying to God, "Look, Lord, you gave me what I asked for, but I don't know if I liked it. I don't know if it was what I wanted." So we need to be very careful with this. Another thing that has changed our lives a lot is the blessing after eating bread. You may not know this, but contrary to what many people say, the blessing is not made before the meal. According to the Torah, the blessing is made after the meal. The rabbis did set blessings before each meal, but according to the Torah, the obligation is to bless God after eating. And who did that? Our patriarch Abraham, who was very rich because he served food to people. In other words, his house should always be open, treating everyone with great respect. And what did he do after every meal? He made the guest bless God for what we had eaten. If you want to know more about this blessing, we can record a video of him reciting it to you after eating the bread. I'm sure it will change your life. Another thing that has changed our lives a lot is the way we treat bread. Bread appears more than 300 times in the Bible, and whenever it talks about bread, it's talking about parnassa, which means sustenance. How you treat your bread can affect your financial life. You know that bread you buy at the bakery? The way you treat it can change your life. We don't throw bread anywhere, and we don't waste bread. When the bread is hard or about to go stale, we make a recipe with it, or make toast, or even bread pudding. Never, never let your bread go stale. Whenever you eat it, put a small plate underneath so that the crumbs fall out. And you should throw the crumbs in a respectful place. I always do this. I separate the crumbs into a bag, don't mix them with other garbage, and throw them away separately. This is a way of saying to God, "Thank you very much for your sustenance," because according to the Torah, bread represents sustenance. So by valuing bread, you are saying to God, "Thank you for everything the Lord has given us." Leave your like to help our channel. It's very important, and subscribe. It's very important to us. Oh, and activate the little bell too. The main aim of Judaism is to bring the spiritual into the real world. I always talk about this. We see the building of the temple as the transformation of something spiritual into something physical. Every detail done by the Jews, according to God's commandments, is a way of turning the spiritual into something material. So it's important to understand that the Bible isn't just there for you to read and keep in your mind. When you put these tips I've given you today into practice, your financial life will probably improve and change. After all, to follow the Torah, you need money. For Judaism, money is not something that is forbidden, but something that we must use. And one of the means of making a living is tzedakah. Tzedakah means social justice, not charity, as some people say. Charity sounds like you feel sorry for the person, but you shouldn't feel sorry for anyone. You should help because we are brothers. When you do social justice, you balance things out, and whenever you do that, God blesses you a lot. The separation of tithes and ma'aser, tzedakah, is a fundamental practice in the life of any Jew and carries with it great spiritual and material importance. When you return the tithe, you can be sure that you are connecting to a source of deep spiritual blessings. Even if times seem difficult or life has been marked by challenges, tithing and tzedakah are, in fact, ancient secrets that have helped many generations achieve prosperity, not only materially but also spiritually. It's important to understand how to carry out this separation correctly. Many people have this question: how do Jews separate tithes and tzedakah? Can I give it all at once as tzedakah? The answer is not so simple, because the tithe is always 10% of what you earn. Kabbalists in some traditions recommend up to 14.7%, but the most common is for the tithe to be 10% of your salary. In addition, many Jews also set aside an additional 10% for tzedakah, meaning that in total, you would be setting aside 20% of what you earn. Now an important question arises: can I give the 20% all at once as tzedakah? The answer is no, it's not right. What you should do is set aside the 10% for tithing first, and then the other 10% for tzedakah. This must be declared and done consciously, because by doing this you are following Jewish teachings and traditions correctly. But when separating the tzedakah, it is essential to understand where it should be given. If you are contributing your tithe in a place where ideas that contradict the Torah are preached, it is possible that the impact of your tithe will not be as beneficial as it could be. For this reason, the ideal is to send your tithe to a place where the Torah is taught correctly. And in the case of tzedakah, the most important thing is that it is given in places where you can really make a difference. This could be in your community, in your family, or even by helping a person in need outside your immediate circle. Tzedakah is a way of doing social justice, of being an agent of change, of bringing practical help to those in need. When you do this, you not only fulfill a religious obligation, but you also connect with the essence of the Torah, which teaches us to help each other in a practical and immediate way. Now, I want to invite you to a simple test. Set aside your tithe for a place where the Torah is taught truthfully, and at the same time, donate the tzedakah to someone or some cause that you believe is just and necessary. Do this with an open heart, and I'm sure you will see the fruits of this action, both in the spiritual and physical worlds. The Torah needs resources to be fulfilled properly, and when you do your part, God blesses both your life and the lives of those who are touched by what you do. Thank God, we really have been blessed. I look at our community and see how much it has grown and flourished. But honestly, the secret of all this progress and prosperity, is tzedakah, tithing, and segulot. These are practices that, for us, are like divine protections for our money. When we are grateful for everything we have and avoid wasting even bread, blessing flows into our lives in incredible ways. If we all do this wholeheartedly, our lives will undoubtedly improve. When a husband or wife worries too much about financial matters, there is no shalom bayis, that true peace in the home. Money is a source of worry, and this affects everything. Anxiety spreads, patience with the children disappears, prayer becomes difficult, and relationships become strained. And why does this happen? Because the worry about providing for them, about the parnasa, takes over the heart. But contrary to what some cultures say, money has its value. It shouldn't be seen as something evil or superfluous, but rather as a tool that can be used to bless our lives and the lives of others. Now the question is, How do we sanctify our money? How do we turn it into something blessed? The answer lies in tithing, tzedakah, and using money wisely. When you tithe, when you contribute to tzedakah, you are putting your money to work for your life and your family, in line with God's will. It's not about accumulating wealth, but about sanctifying what you have, making it a means of doing good, of doing what is right. And, of course, what really sanctifies all this is service to God. As it says in Deuteronomy, "You shall love the eternal your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your possessions." This means that everything you have, your money, your energy, your dedication, must be given to the eternal in a pure and honest way. When you love God in this way, when you give your possessions fairly, money is no longer just a material resource, but a way of serving God and blessing everyone around you. So sanctify your money with your actions, with your tithes, with your tzedakah, and above all, with your willingness to serve the eternal with all your heart. In this way, you will see that by aligning your livelihood with God's will, peace and prosperity enter your life, and everything becomes part of a greater purpose. If you liked this video, if you liked learning about these tips, leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and share it with a friend. So that's it.